Hey guys, me again, Orc Slayer. What if? Where I last left off, let's see. Checking. Where I last left off, Deku had just finished killing a warlord. And the rest of the people that were under him were happy beyond belief because the warlord really hadn't given them a choice and following him. He pretty much did follow or die. Deku shot him a couple of times with his gunslinger, and then he sent the ghost away to find a better guardian. I know how Bell is, but I'm trying to tweak him a little bit, like making him more reasonable. He'll still be like that whole die as a hero sort of mentality, I would say. But as all of them are like celebrating, they like all start talking about, oh yeah, we can head back to our families and everything. As Bell and them are just waiting around, he actually gives Gramps his gun back. He's like, thanks for letting me borrow this. Like, it's no problem. He's like, don't you need a weapon? He's like, no. As Bell like shows him the SMG, he's like, I'm taking this from the Warlord. Ain't like he's gonna be. And it'd be useful to reuse gear instead of having to make new gear, you know? He's like, plus it actually seems well made. He's like, can I see it? As he looks it over, he's like, decently made. As he like sort of checks it, it's like, very decent indeed. It's a good weapon, Bell. Take care of it. As he's like, thanks. So how's Seer and Ween? He's like, and they've been doing fine. Still tired. He's like, you too? He's like, yeah, I woke up early because I heard the pew pew from your little gunshots. It's like, well, sorry. He's like, it's nothing. But anyways, how do you think things will be here? He's like, oh, now that most of them probably know I'm a guardian, we'll just have to see, I guess. As Bell and Gramps wait around to see if anything happens, as Bell goes to go work out, well, not work out, but goes to do his job, he's like plucking some food and such from the farm. But some of the people are like that see Bell actually hear that he's a guardian, yeah, as they all start whispering amongst each other as Bell picks his like fill of the harvest or whatever and then brings it back. So they say, winter will be setting in soon. He's like, really? He's like, yeah. We're gonna have to try and store up as much as we can. And if we can even hunt some creatures, that would actually probably be useful. Since, you know, we could use the meats and such and store them for long-term use. Like, that probably wouldn't be that bad of an idea. He's like, yeah, and it wouldn't. So, you're a guardian, supposedly? He's like, yeah, we sort of kept it hidden. We didn't want to freak anyone out, thinking that was coming in take over or something. He's like, well, from your actions, you seem like a decent person, and same thing with your grandfather and such. He's like, wait a second, what? Are you guys even related? Bell's like, I don't really know. As they say, well, you two do look somewhat similar, except he's bigger than you. As the Gramps is built like a titan, I would say. And Bell's, well, he's a hunter. As he's like, yeah, I kind of noticed that. It's weird, isn't it? As the guy lets out a chuckle, hey, it's been a little while since the Great Collapse, so hang on. Maybe what you are is just he's a great descendant of yours or something like that. Wouldn't that be funny? As it's like, yeah, I guess that'd be somewhat funny. As we skip like 3 months in, the winter has set in and things aren't going well. It's like, the Iron Lords and such have trying to move in on some territory around here. Same thing with the Warlords. Oh, it's a bunch of stuff. As Gramps and such is having to watch his language since Seer and Ween are right there eating, along with like other children and such, since some of them like to listen to Gramps tell his stories, as he has quite a few of them. He's like, want to hear about the time I had to fight 2 fallen captains at once with one arm tied behind my back? As like, yay! As Belle's like, his stories keep on getting more exaggerated by the moment. First it was 2 dregs, then it was a drake. Well, first it was 1 drake, a very abnormally large drake, but still. Then it was 2 dregs, then 3. Then he moved up to a couple of vandals, and now he's at a captain. God, next thing you know, he's gonna say he actually fought a prime servitor. As Bell has come to understand some of the knowledge of the Fallen, like such as they have a very simple hierarchy. They have Kells, Archons, and the Prime Servitor. He's heard that much from people around here who have some experiences with fighting along Iron Lords and such, and learning from them. As they got tired of all the fighting, so they left. Simply how it is. With Bell, well, he also could have learned the stuff from Lily, where she spent time around Iron Lords and such, so yeah. But aside from that, this is what Bell says about the situation. As we cut to him out exploring the area. As he's like, man, things are getting a bit rough in the village, like, I'm letting everyone eat. I'm pretty sure you could bring me back, because apparently guardians can starve to death. So because before I thought they didn't have to eat anything. I thought they, they just kept on going unless something took away their light. But apparently they have to eat and all that too, so that's weird, but, whatever. As he talks about how he feels kind of weak since he's he's been taking on smaller portions of his food, saying that they should have to move soon. Otherwise, there's no point in trying to continue on. We're just gonna starve here to death. And I sure as hell ain't gonna let them starve to death. As Lily's like, well, what do you think we should do? He's like, we should probably try to acquire some carriages, animals, something to help us move them. It's like, well, we could try to find sparrows or something. He's like, that could work. Or maybe even like fallen pikes and such. He's like, that'd probably work even better. It's like, yep, so what you thinking? He's like, we'll see for now. As he's like, his cloak has like a nice thing of white on it. As he's been kneeling in one place for a while, he's like, hang on. As he brings up as he looks closer, he's like, dang it, fallen. He's like, you're this close. We're like over maybe 10 miles away. Say good. As he takes a step back, he's like, I'll move back over. As he runs down, really runs. He eventually makes it over to the little village. As he says, we got a problem. As he talks with the village leader, saying, are you sure what you saw? He's like, yeah, I'm definitely sure. Those were definitely... As they ask him, did you get a chance to look at the colors? He's like, red? As it's like, oh. He's like, what's the problem? He's like, that's frickin' devils. The ones causing most of the havoc here. Damn it. As the leader actually, throws over the table, he's like, oh. As he, sits down in a chair, he's like, think. Alright, ideas. We need ideas now. As, why don't we just, hold out, see if we can just, maybe they won't even come near us. As Bell says, they were 10 miles away. They could be coming down on us right now. I know I'm a good, I can get out of any situation, probably not be found. But that hasn't been put to test with people actively seeking me out. As it's like, Alright. As Bell says, I've been saying this for a while. We need to leave. Find someplace better. It's like, where are we gonna go? He's like, Iron Lord territory, I guess. They give people some fair way. He's like, but then you're probably gonna be absorbed into their ranks. He's like, I'll make that sacrifice. As it's like, fine. there's apparently a mountain nearby. We can try to head there, use it as a landmark. As it's like, alright. As they move out, not Deku, sorry, Belle's like, alright, Lily, you got a map ready or anything? He's like, yep, I got it right here, partner. Slowly, as he's like, thanks, little flower. As she's like, oh, he's like, oh, don't get mush on me right now, please. As it's like, alright. As they start planning out the route, they get all their food and everything ready. As it's like, alright, come on, get everyone in there. Women and children in the carts, men with the guns, I guess. This is how it plays out. As they're like, yeah, pretty much. As they're like, good. Alright, as they arm, like, all the guys and such, it's pretty much like an armored convoy somewhat. As all of them are just, like, sitting there, some of the children are like, I'm cold. As the other people are like, it's okay, just a little bit longer, we're getting someplace safer. As Belle states this, he thinks, fiddlesticks, how many people do you think we'll lose in the end? As Lily's like, I don't think we'll lose anyone, Belle, as long as we stay ahead of the Fallen. Otherwise, well, you may not come out of this unscathed. He's like, as long as they're safe, I don't care. Guardian, right? My entire point is to protect them. As it's like, I guess you're right, Belle. So, as Seer and Ween are like, Belle, come sit with us. As Belle's like, can't right now, girls. All right, just wait till we stop for a break, okay? It's like, okay. As they just continue to talk with the other children. As they all deal with that sort of situation, Belle's like, alright. As they are moving up the mountain at this point, they were lucky to get out when they could. Because like a day later, after Belle and all of them bogged out there really quickly, the Fallen pretty much swarmed the place and was turning everything upside down. As the Fallen have noticed the tracks and where they're going, so they send out several groups of like an entire gang of pikes to go and find what happened. As Belle's thinking about this, like, can you get a air surveillance real quick? As Lily's like, no problem, partner. As she jumps up and starts flying up, she's like, or she refers to Belle as Master Belle, similar to how she does it in the anime, where she's like, Master Belle. It's probably better. As he's like, why do you call me Master? She's like, well, you're my guardian, and you protect me and such. As he's like, and you revived me from the dead. How is that a master-servant relationship? She's like, just, if anything, I should probably be calling you Master. As she's like, no, I'm a ghost. We revive you and you do the traveler's bidding in a way, so maybe we're both, maybe the travelers are Master? I don't know. I'm just gonna keep calling you it. He's like, fine. Just don't get used to it. If you have to make an abbreviation, go MB, alright? She's like, alright, and you gotta call me Little Lily. And she's like, very well. So, as they go on, eventually she's like, oh, dang it. As she sees a group of Fallen, like, looking over the cliffs and such, as they're like, we gotta go, Belle. Go. As they all have to hurry along, she's saying, there's an entire group of them. Looks like they've been tracking something. Something or someone. She's like, could be both. As Belle's like, alright, let's get going. As then, a day or so later, they are hit by a massive blizzard. As it's like to the point where they can see only like a bit ahead of them. As he's like, everyone, we're gonna make for the mountain, look. Apparently there's shelter up there. As it's like, alright, I'll check up. As they come across a bridge. It's like, alright, I'll make sure the bridge is safe, alright? As he walks across it, as he's like, it seems stable enough. As he's like pushing on ahead, as he makes it across, he's like, alright. Alright. as he shouts over, "Come on! It's free to go! But one at a time!" As everyone starts moving across it a little bit at a time, as he's like, "Damn it. Hopefully things don't go south." So he's looking around. Unbeknownst to him, there's a figure watching him as Belle's like, "Oh, hopefully everything turns out alright." As then they hear, as eventually everyone's starting to come across, Belle and them, like, Belle, as they're all across, like, rejoicing in the fact that they ain't dead, as the figure is about to walk away, as then they hear a snap and then a almost crashing sound as one of the last carriages that was coming across almost falls. As everyone else at this point is tired, they've been walking for days on end. As Belle sees this, he's like, "Oh no," as he runs over and grabs onto the pole that was starting to fall off due to rot. As he's like, "No, it's happening." As he shoves his feet into the ground and is like holding on to it. At this point, the ones in the last carriage are weaning them. Arween, Sierra, and even Graham, since they deemed him too old to continue walking as he would. As Belle's like, "Come on, no, you ain't leaving me yet, you three." It's like, "Come on, Belle, let go." As well, it's not let go, it's like, "Come, Belle, help us." As he's like, "You damn well, I ain't gonna let go." As he tries to take a step back, but when he does, he starts to slide even further. As he's like, no. As he grits his teeth and starts pulling back, as when it starts to get even worse, he wraps one of his legs around, and then his arm around it, then stabs his knife into the ground. He's like, "Someone help! Please! Please!" As the figure jumps down, rushing over. The figure is massive. As he runs over, grabs the log, and he says, "Heave! Come on! Is that all you got?" As it's like, "Oh, alright." As he starts pulling backwards, as together with this gigantic figure, Belle and him are able to pull the bridge up somewhat and allow the carriage to get on by. As everyone moves over to say thank you to the strange figure that towers over any of them. As Belle's like, "Thank you." As he like bows his head, "What's your name?" As he says this with a loud booming voice. "My name is Warlord Shaxx." As Belle hears the name Warlord, and he's like, "Warlord Shaxx." He's like, "And who are you? Coming into my territory?" As he's like, as Belle replies, I'm just a light bearer, your lordship." As Shaxx is like, what? As Shaxx is confused by he's never been talked to like that. As he's like, "Lordship." As he's like, "Yes, sir. Lordship. I don't know what to call you." He's like, as Shaxx is kind of confused. As he's like, "Why are you here? State your business." As he's like, "We came looking for a safe place for my people. We're a small village out over that way. Fallen started swooping in, so we had to bug out." He's like, "Seems like the usual trick that happens these days. So what? You Warlord? Or an Iron Lord?" He's like, "Neither. Unaffiliated, I guess." He's like, "I'm just a guardian, I guess." He's like, "Guardian. So few actually use that name. More of them take a Warlord or Iron Lord stance. As you've already heard, I am called myself Warlord." Yep. So, if it was okay with you, your lordshipness, could my people stay here, even if it's just for a night? We just need a break. Fallen's been on our tails for a while. I even had to take on almost an entire thing of Fallen by myself." As he's like, almost entirely? He's like, the men are armed and ready. They were part of another warlord's group before I killed them. Permanent death? He's like, his ghost abandoned him after I gave it instructions. It left, and so it's probably off to find a better person, I hope. He's like, very well. As he tells everyone, head to the top of the mountain. You will stay there for the night. Until then, and after that, we'll see what we can do with you. As everyone's like happy to finally have a bit of time to take a rest, to not have to continue to, jump through these hoops, as they would put it. As he says, you and I are not done speaking. Understood, Bell? As he's like, yes, Warlord. As he's like, good. Now until then, get up there. As he's like, yes, sir. As Shaxx is like, haha, in his head. This will be interesting. As he walks after him, Bell's like thinking he is kind of scary. As Lily's like, I've heard news about him before. He actually keeps in his side, his territory. Warlords actually don't have that much power to reign over. He's somewhat of a king, as I've heard. He's like, but he doesn't like to be called that, so don't bring that up to him. He's like, well, what should I call him? I guess Warlords works for him as well. As he's like, alright. Where should we do now? He's like, let's make sure everyone's okay. Alright, Lily? She's like, alright, Belle. So, yes. So that's what they do. As Belle is like, as they get to the top, Belle sees that everyone is taken care of. Everyone's fed well, clothed, somewhat happy. As before they are able to enter the building, Shaxx says this: before you go, your true men must leave their weapons right here in this little thing. When they leave, they are free to have them back, or until they have earned the right to carry them. Hair. As everyone is kind of reluctant, but Belle's actually the first one to offer up his guns and like puts them in there. He's like, And Shaxx says, wait a second. So he looks at this. This weapon's familiar. Belonged to a low-tier warlord, as he called himself. You take it you're the one that ended him? Yes, sir. Was he a friend of yours? I don't have friends. As he's like, yes, your warlord. As he's like, this kid's kinda easily spooked. Oh well, maybe one day we can change that. As he says, now all you, weapons in the bucket. As alright. As even aside from Gramps, even Gramps says, alright. Sorry. That's the price for entry, as they all set their weapons aside, as then everyone, like some of Shaxx's people, then begin to tend to, Deku's. As Deku says, thank you again, Warlord Shaxx. He's like, do not thank me just yet. I intend to get every ounce of usefulness out of you people. Even that means working you to the bone. My people need things as well, you understand? He's like, of course, Warlord. It wouldn't be right for us to just mooch off you without giving anything in return. He's like, So if you understand that, I'm glad you do. He's like, thank you, Warlord. Like, now, head over to the mess hall. You must be starving. He's like, thank you, Warlord. But as Belle's walking away, Shaxx is like, He was able to kill him. He wasn't the best, but he wasn't the worst. And he says, before you go, as Belle's like, yes, Shaxx rushes at him and tries to punch him in the face, charging a bit of his light into his fist, as Belle is able to, just barely duck under. As he's like, what are you doing? Testing your reaction time. You're kinda slow, but we can get rid of that. Shaxx deciding that he'll pound Bell into the shape of worthy of being a guardian of humanity. As he's like, very well. Your training starts as soon as you get done eating. Understood? He's like, oh, yes, Warlord. As it's like, good. Meet me in the yard. As it's like, As he takes a big gulp of, like, spit, he's like, this is gonna be terrifying. So, following this, you know what? This is a nice place to end it off at. I hope you guys enjoy this. Hope you guys continue to enjoy this. And I hope you guys have a nice day, nice night, nice life.